Thanks for coming out and for starting off here with a lighthouse from seen above. Kind of an interesting composition. I want to use a lot of dry brush here just to show you how that looks in watercolor. So essentially that's the shoreline I'm drawing, and I'm attempting to put a center line for the lighthouse. And I'll sketch in the lighthouse pretty quickly. Very little drawing in this particular case, just the lighthouse and the shoreline. From there we'll start painting the sky right away and jump into the landscape. So we're just finishing off the final touches of the drawing, and we go from there. A little bit of indigo I'm whipping up here. Get the background going first, just to get it started. No big detail at all here. Some different colors to show, and you see how it gets kind of dry at the end and it gets all flaky. That's called dry brush. It's an old technique, but it creates for a nice landscape. And put in a nice washy sky, mostly water now after this, just to soften it up, bring it across. So it's sort of more like a storm coming through. This is set in the wintertime a little bit. What you there see me flicking a little bit, adding some texture to the landscape before I put some more details down. Already it starts to come together. The lighthouse is going down as one tone. That way the lighthouse will look good against the indigo background. Putting in a little first layer on the shoreline. Yep, a bit of green. And we're making sort of a indigo green background here. This is on the ocean. And if you notice, the strokes are more or less going horizontally. They help me when I go to do my ripples in the water. The composition radiates from the center where the lighthouse sits. That's the composition here. That's what I'm going for. Really loose, putting in semi-abstract houses in the background. Coming in with some more indigo. Adding more definition on the snow. This is where I get to put in some detail of the ripples in the water. They're quite active today when we're painting this composition. Darker again. It's multiple layers to get it right. We'll find that with watercolor. The more you do, you'll notice that the layer after layer after layer. Putting in the top of the lighthouse. The cap of the lighthouse will be red, sort of an orangey red. This be a feature area. We're going to throw a bit of yellow in the sky. There goes the red cap. Add a few more homes. It's a very simple composition. It's even looser than what I typically do. I typically have a little more detail, but I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with this one, show you what else it can do. We have a little bit of wet on wet. We have a little bit of dry brush. We have some ocean scenes, some bit of seascape. So we have quite a random choice of solutions and techniques. It's mostly surrounded by rocks, so you're not seeing much vegetation. And as you see, I'm doing the crack lines in the rocks. As I said, radiating from the lighthouse. more final touches. White has a tendency to fade a little bit, so you go back and re-hit it with more white. I'm using a white gouache, which is more of a permanent color. Typical watercolor wash, white is transparent. I'm using a bit of opaque here just to strengthen the picture. And again, the tones are not strong enough there. We're coming up on the final touches here. A little bit of surf. A little bit of detail to make the lighthouse look round. Bit of snow caps on the far rocks. And some final flicking. Here I'm flicking white, adds a lot of sparkle to the picture. And that's pretty much about it. Thanks for coming out. That's about it. Thank you.